In front of me is one of the longest running truck names, and it's made by Chevrolet. This particular Silverado is from 2013 and is the last year for the GMT 900 Chevrolet trucks and SUVs. And today I'm going to review this one. Kicking off this review under the hood, this is a 6-liter Vortec V8, and it was pretty widespread across the GM lineup. It was used in all the SUVs and trucks in this platform. This engine makes 322 horsepower. One thing I would like to note here is these old-style hood hinges. Most companies had gone to using struts for hoods, but not here. Now, paired to this 6-liter is a 6-speed automatic transmission. Now, in the Mexican markets, you could get a manual transmission, but for the US, an automatic transmission was the only way to go. Last thing about the powertrain for this truck, this particular one is 2-wheel drive, even though you could get 4-wheel drive optional. Now, you could get a 6.6-liter Duramax diesel in this truck, and you could also get a 4.8-liter V8, a 5.3-liter V8, and then the 6-liter. You could also get a hybrid powertrain option, which I would love to find one of those. Moving on to the interior of this truck, this is where you start to find it's a very weirdly optioned truck. This has cloth seats, manual windows, and power locks. Moving on to the dashboard, in front of me I have, on the gauge cluster, a pretty wide array of gauges. On the left side, I have my tachometer, which goes up to 6,000 RPM, my fuel gauge, and my oil pressure gauge. On the hybrid, you would get an economy gauge replacing the oil pressure gauge, and then the tachometer would look a little different. And then on the right, I have my speedometer, my battery voltage, and my temperature. To the left of that, I have my dome lamp off controls, my headlight controls, an air vent, and on the door, I have my window crank, my door handle, and my power lock button. On the steering wheel, I only get my horn button, a Chevy badge, and my cruise control buttons. Another interesting bit about this truck is it only has 26,000 miles on the odometer. On the right, I get my radio with CD player and aux, which is nice to have. Then below that, I have my climate controls, temperature in the center, fan speed on the left, and where to send it to off to the right. And below that, I have two 12-volt outlets and my traction control off button, as well as a little storage cubby. Then down on the kick panel, I actually get trailer controls for when you're towing, and an ashtray. And then I get a big storage cubby, an airbag, and the glove box. On the seats, I actually get very minimal adjustments. Again, this is a very base truck. The truck being this base, of course, all the adjustments are going to be manual. And then I get a pretty base center console with just cup holders and then yet another cubby hole. Alright, so now we are in the back of the 2013 Chevy Silverado. And not really much to note back here. I mean, you've got a plain headliner, a dome light, and then you get grab handles, and that's really about it. You get your window cranks again, your door handles, and your door locks. But that's really about it. Nothing much to report back here. So let's hop out and then we'll take a look at the bed. So now we're in the bed of the Chevrolet Silverado from 2013, and there is something to note. This is a long bed truck. You could get a short bed or a medium-sized bed that came with crew cab, or you could get this. I also get this GM cargo liner in the bed, so that's a nice little bit to keep you from scratching up your paint in your bed. Instead, you can put your things on this. One thing I will note is this damage here. Something had to hit this really hard, and it's touching the cab. But that is the bed space of the Chevrolet Silverado long bed, in case you were ever wondering. Now looking at the outside of the Chevy Silverado, and I like the look of this generation of Silverado. It looks so happy, which is kind of what GM was aiming for during the 2000s, early 2010s. And because you have the Malibu, you have the Equinox, and those cars all looked happy. And same here. Meanwhile, GMC with the Sierra was going for kind of a meaner look. Look how long this truck is. Because of the crew cab long bed configuration, you don't see that often. This particular truck is the working man Silverado. You have the long bed, the crew cab, manual windows. It's cheap, but it works. And that philosophy may be lost come soon because you have trucks like the Silverado EV, the Ford F-150 Lightning coming out. And I don't think any of them will be offered or as cheap as a base model of one of these trucks from all those years ago. With that, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Eliza Parker. See you soon.